Thank you, Carl. Okay, let's start with the approval of the minutes from January 19th. I only see one thing, and it's responsible for maintaining 53,880 miles of road. I think that was supposed to be 53.8.
No, either that or we're gonna hire more guys in the road
Really?
department.
I guess so.
So you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's supposed to be not a comma, a decimal point, yeah.
Well, she extra risk miles. Yeah.
You
53,000.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes. Okay, scheduled reports. Frank Kitco, zoning inspector.
Okay, gentlemen, should all have a report of activities for January, but basically we handled 9 referrals or applications, 1 was denied. We had 2 new houses. We're total of 9 permits. We had a couple variances and conditional uses. We did hear a conditional use case, and I will mention that case because it does abut our property, meaning park up there, and it's a strange situation on that section of Munn Road, because some of that particular lot in this case was in a commercial area and part of it was in a residential area. And so they needed a variance because the setback for in a commercial area abutting a residential district is 50 feet instead of 15 for an accessory structure. And there was no way that could be done on that particular lot, so they did go for a variance, and it was approved. But it's here again, I think all 3 of you are aware that the business B1 district on East Washington Street does not follow property lines. It follows a set distance off the center line of the road, which causes this to happen in this particular case, but up along where Classic Stainless used to be, and Mark Taylor and the House Palace and all through there, it does not follow property lines. It's a distance of 600 feet from center line, so there are some residential lots with the back section and the subdivision there in Indian Hills is actually part of their lot that is commercially zoned, even though they can't really do anything. And we were gonna correct it, but we just never did follow through in getting it corrected.
It's been started and
Right.
fallen off the
We're
desk a
gonna
couple
get,
of times, yeah.
Mr. Kotowski to follow the property lines, but it does cost some money to do that, so, you know.
Frank, I would just like to add to that, what you just said, I was at that meeting too, and the builder or the proposed builder in that structure that's going up there, kind of familiar with Munson zoning, guess they did the same kind of thing, and in one of their commercial districts, they just did an arbitrary 500-foot line.
Right.
So it probably was a common thing to do
I
back in
believe
that
that's
time.
what, I've been
Yeah.
led to believe as well, so. That's all I have about that, and then you do have, a copy of the fee schedule and some of the changes that we would like to make. I can go over this specifically, the changes, and we have added a couple things to the fee schedule. We raised the fee for a single-family dwelling from $350 to $375 if they do it properly, and if they don't do it properly and they start construction prior to, we went from $400 to $425. We did raise the price on in-ground swimming pools from $150 to $175, and that should be, if they start construction before securing permits, should be $225, not $200. And you see that we raised the fence, the if the fence doesn't coincide with the pool, it's done by separate contractors, an additional fee. And this has become a real headache. To be quite honest with you, Jane and I spent quite a bit of time with people because they think that these covers that they put on the pools are sufficient. Well, they may be sufficient, but our zoning doesn't allow it, or that doesn't supersede the requirement for a fence. So we go round and round with people because they don't wanna put the fence in, and I mean, one case actually almost went to litigation because they wouldn't put the fence onto their property line. But it's become quite an issue. Usually it involves multiple inspections, inspection of the pool, follow-up inspection, make sure the fence is properly done, properly gated, and so forth and so on. So that's why we felt we wanted to raise that.
It's hard for me to believe that someone could put in a pool and not think they had to put up a fence, not only with our zoning, but with their homeowners insurance.
I agree with you, Gene, I agree with you, but there are some people that feel that way, And a lot of times what happens is a pool company, if they don't do the whole project, there might be a 4 or 5 or 6 week time frame there where there's no fence. Well, we can't have that, for the township's sake, we can't have that. They gotta put a temporary fence up or something to keep kids and animals out of there, at least deter them from getting in there.
Before you move on from there, are you looking at raising that permit fee from $30 or just the post-construction?
Just the post-construction part, the $30 is fine.
So the 20 on the, construction permit before that just gets eked out and stays at 225?
Yeah, it stays at 225, it's a typo again.
I thought you were being a nice guy and lowering prices.
Then we did add it down there before we get into replacement of grandfathered structures and so forth, we did add a fee, preliminary construction plan review. And what that means is, okay, we have had in the last probably 4 or 5 months, multiple requests to look at plans, comment in writing, and then have them resubmit, and the same thing again. So after 2 times reviewing, we're gonna charge a fee for that. We have one now we're on our 6th time we have reviewed this gentleman's, in a residential district, his request to put a garage addition on his simple garage addition, but.
So he's changing the plans
Yeah,
every
he
time
keeps
he brings
changing
it
the
up.
plans, and while he's trying to build a garage, but he wants a certain amount of expansion in his living area as well, and he has to, he's not in compliance with the driveway setback. He wanted to do it one way, we said you can't do it that way, that's a duplex, you're creating a duplex. And it's been going back and forth, his architect has drawn multiple plans but I think Jane said it's the 5th or 6th time that we've reviewed it, So we've added that, probably won't come to, use it very much, but then another thing we added is electric vehicle supply equipment, primarily in industrial and commercial areas. Because if we're gonna add that to our zoning resolution, we gotta be able to control it somehow, so that they don't end up in the middle of the yards, and front yards and so forth and so on. We're not too concerned about it in residential, but we are putting that into our resolution, language and so forth, to create these things and have them, so we better be able to somehow control them, especially in industrial and commercial. So, the only one I know of right now that exists that I know is over in Bainbridge at the Walmart. There is a electrical vehicle charging station. but there could be others, I'm not familiar with them. Then on the second page, we raised the variance, you know, here again, it was 475, we raised it to 545, and you guys have, elected to give the members of the board a raise, plus additional cost of legal fees and so forth have increased, so we felt we needed to increase that. We did increase the multiple cases for the same applicant, heard on the same evening from 160 to 180 for the variance, and we also raised the conditional use to 545 from 475. And then the last thing is we removed Plan PDD, PDs and so forth, because that no longer exists on our resolution, so let's take it out. If we ever go back to Planned Business District, then we'll add it again, but we don't allow Planned Business Districts anymore, so let's not even have a fee schedule for it.
Hey Frank, just a clarification, I read it, the preliminary construction plan review, basically the first two reviews are free, everyone after that is $25
Right.
per review.
Right. Okay, and that's all I have.
We don't have them very often, I think it's been a while, but, a zoning amendment application,
Yeah, there's one there for $800.
you gonna leave it there?
Yeah.
When's the last time we had one of
Paul Clemens was the last one.
those?
So we have, under the business to approve those, 2022 zoning application fee schedule. You wanna do that now? Just-
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed zoning permit fees
Is there a
effective
second?
February 1st, 2022.
Second.
Mike,
Yes.
EJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes. All right, we should have Emmerich Gordon, but he has some issues right now, so he won't be here for a little bit. Anybody have any reports from Emmerich?
Yeah, spoke with him today. We had, what's most likely to be warranty work to do on truck 18's transmission. We do have to have it towed. There might be I don't know if there's a request here for that, but, I know that's what they were looking for today. Other than that, that was the only hiccup in the last snowstorm. Got some salt ordered. And, let's see, what else did I talk to him about? Oh, yeah, this is probably the most, influential thing I heard today is, engineers requested a second, and we met with the engineer's office, I'm gonna say a good month ago, about, preliminary work for this year's road projects. We're still in good shape there, but the news is, estimates of, cost of asphalt and chip seal are not, they're not going down, put it that way. So there's gonna be a revised meeting with some updated numbers, and that's coming up in the next week or two. Yeah, it's kind of what everybody expected, but didn't acknowledge till they were seen. And the good news is, of course, the Stafford Road project, which we locked in at that previous bid price, we're looking at, I guess, what would be a redo of the pre-construction meeting at the end of this month. Of course, that's gonna hold the same price from when it was bid, which was well over a year ago. And that was the settlement since the work never took place last year. That was how that wound up. That's about all I got from the road department today.
All right, we'll go on to trustees. Mike, any reports?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over the, we had discussed the remaining care funds, and using those for a chase vehicle. Kristen, didn't say yes, didn't say no. but her justification and her hedging, was that the chase car, just carries one person, isn't clear why a second one would be needed, and that need is tied to COVID. This seems different from the ambulance, we actually be carrying COVID patients, has multiple people in the vehicle.
If they're going to pick up someone with COVID,
And then they're gonna
What's the di-
transport the people that are in there back to the, so basically, her statement there I ignored. I went Fred went ahead and prepared the, to transfer those funds. You have the original letter, Fred? I think I told Nancy to make a copy and put it out there.
yeah,
That agreement,
I agree with that. She is our liaison from the prosecutor's office.
She's our
Yeah,
assistant
she's
I
our
was gonna say,
assistant.
that was the most non-committal letter I've ever read, prosecutor.
yeah, Mike, I don't have that,
Right, I gave Gene a copy tonight.
Well, the COVID,
Yeah,
yeah,
scares that.
that.
okay. Yeah, so this is, I just basically changed the numbers in here. It's essentially the same as the last sub-grant regarding the squad, so everything else is the same. I'm not gonna give legal advice, but I think that we could probably move forward on this. And if there's an issue, we can deal with that in the future. But, I think this is probably sufficient to move forward with, in my opinion. But
I
not
think
my-
we all
not
agree
my
on that, so
professional
what I'm gonna do is I'm
opinion.
gonna make a motion to transfer the remaining care funds in the form of a grant to the Auburn Volunteer Fire Department.
Second.
Mike,
Yes,
TJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes,
okay, so, who's gonna sign for the fire department? All right, so, we'll sign the grant paperwork, we'll get their signature on it, and then we're done.
is this one to be signed, chief, or is this?
That was my copy, I
That was-
just gave it to you, so
Alright,
you should
there's-
probably sign that one. And Let Nancy make a copy tomorrow, I'll give it to Keith or Brian.
You wanna use this one, Brett?
yeah, I don't have another one here, so.
And we'll use that one.
You're on top, I think.
Top section. All right, let's give that back down to Fred, that's gonna be his authorization to get the funds transferred. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Again, if you have fire department stuff to take care of, you guys are more than welcome to go save lives. Or you can stay here and watch us, it's pretty entertaining too. All right, that was all I had.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Mr. Kavanaugh?
I think we pretty much got everything with the road stuff that we had earlier. Couple of upcoming meetings. Gene, I assume you're gonna talk about, clearing over the cemetery back, and, cause of the stuff's all here, and Emric and I pulled it all out. So I'll pass on to you.
Okay. Like PJ said, I talked to Emric after our last meeting, that PJ had mentioned that we had Donnie Smucker actually come out and do the removal of the trees. I believe we received $6,500 for that venture.
Now, see, the thing is there too, we had him grind up all the tops.
Right.
So that actual offer was probably, the valid offer for the logs would have been in the 9
Right.
range, and it cost some money to have that all ground up,
So, I see that this was quite a bid package when you first,
We did,
did
we
this,
got, I think we got a couple, 3. and
I
they were
told,
blown away with us.
or asked Emric to call Donnie, and as you said, you didn't know if there was any trees out there that were worth harvesting, at least come out and look at it for us, and let us know when he could come, and if you or I could meet him and Emric, and we'll kinda see if there's anything worth doing that again.
Like I said, they harvested them about 10 years ago, so you got
Yes,
10 years
so
of growth back
right,
there, so who knows
absolutely.
what's.
It was pretty selective too.
Yeah.
And by the way, that forester that's mentioned in there,
Yes,
that was
mhm.
Elmer Hirschberger's ex-wife.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, like I said, so that's, we've got that on the books, that he's gonna give him a call, and we're gonna meet with him, and if nothing else, we can at least get the 5-acre parcel, at least the trees removed this year, and then worry about something else next year. Okay, I also talked to Emric. I guess, we're still waiting for the letters. Supposedly, they're on their way to Nancy as far as, the park's concerned, as far as mitigating the new drive and the retention pond.
Yeah, it's the
and all that.
information requested by, Western Reserve Land
Right.
Conservancy, and I hear it's imminent,
Well,
so.
so that's taken care of, and we'll hope to get those letters ASAP. Okay. Before we go into old business and new business, Fred, you,
I have nothing for you, so.
okay, well, let's go into old business. We're still waiting for the amendments for the parking lot expansion, so I guess we'll still keep that under old business. As far as the generator for Adam Hall, after our meeting, I contacted a gentleman in Manaway that does a lot of electrical work in the area, and I gave his card to Emric. Emric gave him a call. Right now they're playing phone tag, but again, we're gonna meet down there, and we'll have another bid from a local guy, so we can get a price on that. Auburn fence, you saw what Donnie had sent, the pictures.
Yeah, and I have
Yes,
something.
you have some comments on that?
Something to add to that as well.
Okay.
We spoke earlier, this is something that's legally required, is to put a perimeter up around
Absolutely.
the cemetery, so we're gonna do something. We initially talked about hedgerow, we thought about that a little further, and there's a lot of maintenance with a hedgerow. We mentioned the possibility of using some of the money from community church that they needed,
Absolutely.
but we cannot. There is a Ralph May clause in there that's to be spent on, solely on stone and footer improvements of the headstones. There's a,
That hurt.
yeah, it does a little bit. Way I remember, and it's in there, we saw it, I looked it up end of last week, and talked to Mark Lewis, who was part of all
Right.
those discussions and decisions. And so we're looking at that right now, and a couple of other options even on these older stones, just to keep to improve legibility on some of these ones that are 1800s, and
We got some up here
and they're
that
getting hard
tipped
to
over.
read, yeah, well, those are definitely on the list of ones to fix. But, some of the ones that are still standing but are barely legible, I think talking about making some plaques to attach to the stones just to keep the information handy. And legible. I think, Mike, you might remember this when we looked into the hedgerow. Why am I thinking $11,000 for the hedges? Remember that, when we talked about doing that maybe 2 years ago, and then
Yeah, I know,
We
they were,
backed away from it
they were,
because of the
yeah, they were,
construction.
yeah, they were relatively expensive, and, you know, then you've got the ongoing maintenance with them.
I think
I'd still look at the fence.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I kinda like this idea.
I do too.
How about land acquisition and improvement? Do you have any available funds that we can take out of there?
Getting, kinda tight there. So I think we need to really look at some of our other funding, maybe even look at if ARPA funding would maybe cover that. That does include, improvements, so maybe we could look at that.
I
Well,
think
we're
we
gonna have
should,
to make a decision
Yeah,
pretty soon here, because May's gonna be right around the corner.
Right.
And we'd like to have that fence up before,
okay, Fred, you're gonna check into that funding.
Yeah, let me look and see what we have available.
Like I said, seems to be a lot more flexibility since our last meeting, on what we can use that funding for.
so Fred's gonna check on the ARP, no, the,
and if funds available where we could find them. Okay, and we're looking at about 1,000 foot we're gonna do. We're gonna go along East Washington, and we're gonna go back to the end of the existing fence on the far side there on the east side. And I guess we're talking about a 60-foot back off of East Washington on this side, and then we're gonna go with something else, probably a cheap split rail, because there's trees that fall in there
Right,
frequently.
right,
Alright, so $32 a foot for that gauge. $43 a foot for that gauge, which a little bit better. And then we'll have to make some decisions on the post caps, which I don't know if there's a cost difference, but they're included in that $32
Right.
a foot.
I just get the pointiest ones they have, keep you
That's
from
it.
sitting on it.
I think it's time we did something like that. I'm gonna encourage Fred to look as hard as he can, because I think that's something we need to do, and we need to do pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Alright.
there's no getting around that money from the church, so that clause.
That's in there, and that was, Mark said that, Ralph was pretty solid on that he wanted that there. And it was their money, I mean, it's
Absolutely,
still
I'm
quite
not disputing that,
quite a
but-
gift. I guess Munson did a significant improvement of stones and sites with, in their cemeteries last year. We're checking into who they had. When Susan Plavkin was sexton, we started on a program, I think it was through Shetler, remember that?
Yeah.
It went on for a couple of years, and then one year they blew us off, weather or whatever, and it just got set aside after that.
Yeah, they just stopped, I don't know if they stopped doing it, but they,
It seemed like
Stop.
maybe they stopped doing it,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're looking for a vendor, and, we'll attack it from that angle. So let's keep that on the agenda for next week.
Yeah, let's
weeks.
hopefully have some kind of answer
Yeah.
money-wise by the next meeting in February. Okay, new business. OPEC, Energizing Community Grant Agreement and Resolution 2022-06, authorizing all action necessary to accept the grant award of $14,594.
I'll call that a motion, and I'll second it.
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
And you have the grant paperwork?
and you. No,
I've already signed it, so.
you did? All right, so we need to sign it here.
Okay, franchise fees received from Suddenlink, $1,949.23. Do we have to,
I would make a motion to put that in the land acquisition and improvement and fence fund.
I'll second that motion.
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Gene.
Yes. Okay, as you can see on the far end of the table by Mike, we have some new maps for Auburn Township. We need a motion to accept the new zoning maps received from the county, acknowledging it, that it is a map of roads and lot line only.
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second.
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes. All right, next we have a memorandum of understanding from the Jog County Engineers, application of pavement markings for Shaw Road for $5,500.
Yeah, that came out last year, that they let all the townships know they were kind of doing a bulk price, and if we wanted in or not, and that was the decision we came to, that would be the road to do.
Yep.
So, motion to enter into that MOU with the engineer's office for that purpose?
I'll second.
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes. Okay, next we have a bill from Weaver Tree Company as a quote for $3,525, where we did some various work on Valley, Shaw, Bartholomew, and Thorpe of some tree removal.
Yeah, these are all fairly big ones. Emmerich tells me they're all dead, within the right of way. And, as I said, we've been doing our roadside mowing 80 years ago, they wouldn't be there. So, they're shedding branches and,
Well, they must be dead because nobody's here to
yeah, they're,
yell.
yeah. So, yeah, motion to continue on with Weaver Tree to remove those. At that, those trees at that price.
I'll second.
$35.25, by the
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
way. Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
We got a change order and the final bill for Perk Company for last year's work.
All right, I was just gonna bring that up. It's an increase of $388.70, so we need to approve a change order and a motion to do that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the change order for the amount Jane just said, $388.70.
$388.70, which makes the total amount, what, $8,265.70.
Yeah. Okay, that's the motion.
Second.
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes. Okay, and we've already approved the zoning application fees, so we're good with that. So other than that, we have scheduled event dates, senior resident large item trash pickup. And I believe that's through the county, right? That's, we have a letter.
Yeah, Department of Aging
Department of
schedules
Aging,
that.
right.
Yeah, then we do it.
And that will be on Thursday and Friday, June 2nd and June 3rd. And then the resident large item drop-off will be Saturday, June 4th at 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And where do we do that?
We do that at Adam Hall.
Adam
It's
Hall.
worked pretty well, I'm gonna say.
Okay. And then roadside litter pickup event scheduled tentatively for Saturday, April 23rd from 8 a.m. to noon. Okay.
That's generally scout driven.
Other than that, we have some save the dates. Our BZA meeting is at 7 p.m. at the administration office here on February 8th, which is tomorrow. And on the 10th, we have a zoning commission meeting at 7 p.m. here. On 2/21 will be our next trustees meeting here at 7:30. That's also President's Day. The office will be closed here that Monday. And on 2/24, the zoning commission meeting will be at 7 p.m. at the administration office here. Do we have any guests that need to address the board? Anyone? Yes, sir. Say
Say
who you are and
Yeah, my name is Mohammed Qureshi. I've been a resident for about 3 years here. I've been working with Kensington Education Center for the cricket field, and he has advised me to attend the meeting, and you guys may have some questions that I can answer for you. So that's what I'm here for.
I just saw your letter, it said we'll get to this after Thanksgiving, so I was going through some old stuff and I guess it's after Thanksgiving now. I just saw that tonight, I think I brought it.
well, I think Emmerich says we have plenty of room to do the cricket field, so
Yes.
that's not a problem.
Before you leave, let me get your full name.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
It's it right there.
I don't know how familiar are you guys with the sport, but I do have a bat in my car, as you probably just, if somebody wants to see it, check it out, along with the ball, so we can do that after the meeting, or I can go grab it right now.
Cricket.
Perfect.
Yeah. This is your thing, it came from Jennifer,
Yep.
yeah.
She's very excited for it. I guess lacrosse has been very good success in around here, and she would like to work with cricket as well. I spoke to a couple neighbors, just out of curiosity, and they seem to be interested in it as well. I have kids who are going to Kensington School right now, and I talked to their parents, and I was talking to them about the stuff, and they were like, that sounds pretty cool.
Is cricket a spring sport, a fall sport, a summer sport?
So it's usually in around Ohio, it starts around end of March and it goes up to October.
It's an all-year sport.
They're all your sports.
The all-year sports.
They're all your
The
sports.
funny part
now.
is that, in baseball, you have gloves to catch the ball. In cricket, you just catch it with bare hands and the ball is just as hard. So when it gets cold, it gets pretty pretty tricky, but we just tough it up and play because we love the sport. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little about cricket. How many members on the team?
So 11 on one side plays. It's really close to what baseball is. The batters get to bat till they get out. There's total number of pitches by one team, so let's say there's different formats, and one has about 100 pitches, one has about 120, and then there's one that has 300. And you get to score as much as you can in those number of pitches. And then the next team bats, and they get the same amount of pitches, and then the batsman has to score one run more than what they score, the first team scores.
So it's just one inning for each team?
One inning each team. You get to bat once. If you get out on the first ball, you're done. You just field all day long, that's it.
And how long does a cricket match usually last?
So there's different formats. There's one that lasts about an hour and a half to 2, and then there's one that starts around 9 a.m. and ends at 4 o'clock. That includes the break as well. There's only one break in between.
I'm looking
And this is
at,
gonna be for little kids? Or
This is gonna be for little kids and for the residents as well, for us.
from 10 to 4?
9 to 4, 8 to 4, yeah.
okay, so I'm looking at your email thing from last year.
Uh-huh.
The dimensions of the pitch, 12 foot by 100 foot,
Mhm.
that's the field?
That should be the field, yeah.
Okay,
No, 12 foot, no, 100 feet by.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, yeah. The pitch itself, the slab or the carpet that we need, that's about 22 yards. Can I come up there and look at it?
Yeah,
What you're
sure.
looking at, so
I just
can
took this
explain
out,
it a little bit
just
better?
took this out again tonight, so.
Okay. So this is the pit, this is the field, so we just need the grass cut obviously, and then just the boundary mark. And this is the pitch that we were referring to, so that's the slab that we will need that gets a carpet on it.
So you can use a regular ball field to play this game?
Well, as far as we have,
You need
So
a flat field,
yeah, so the only issue is, in baseball, you throw the ball directly to the batsman, this ball gets pitched and then comes up. So it's very important for the pitch to be true, so it has a concrete slab and then a carpet on it, because the ball does the trick when it hits the carpet.
Just a little
It swings in,
construction.
swings out, it spins, and so forth.
You're familiar with the park, then you've been up there
Yes,
before the 3 feet of snow, so.
yes,
it looks
yes,
like-
yes, very familiar with that, yeah.
so this field could only be used for cricket then, if we're putting in a cement slab?
Kind of,
Not necessarily, because
there's a lot of different townships that have the carpet, and then they usually play either football or soccer on it.
So you
because
could
they can
actually
run on it.
bring this pitching thing that you need, I mean, is it
So
something
the
that
slab
somebody could
stays
bring?
here, and it's levels with the ground, and the carpet levels with the ground, so the 22 yards will be the carpet, but you can run on it just like a regular grass.
Well, my purpose is that if we can use the field for other things besides cricket,
Mhm.
you can't play football on a concrete slab. I mean,
It gets carpet on it, so imagine if you were playing soccer indoor,
Okay.
there's ostrich on it, and you run on it, so just the 22 yards usually have that, and the rest of it is all carpet. Yeah, and you can still,
Well,
in most townships, like Columbus has about 12 grounds now, and that's how this is done. But even if you put the field here in Auburn Township, there's enough room, I think there's 2 soccer fields still that are available apart from that.
Oh, yeah, we're only using about a third.
Yeah, about the third of
Well,
it.
one of the concepts behind the park originally, correct me if I'm wrong, because you were there, is to supply generic fields, which is what we have, big mounds of grass for people to do whatever they want on. So if you have football,
Baseball.
yeah, let's say, we don't even have a fixed
Soccer.
baseball field.
Mhm.
So, this is kind of a different ball of wax when you're talking, taking these, what we call generic fields, and putting a big wad of concrete in the middle of them.
Right. If you're playing football, or, there's a whole room for it that's a concrete, and then they have all this stuff stored. You're only gonna have 22 yards of that entire field, that would be dedicated to, I would say, cricket in particular. In Cleveland, right at Carriage Park where we have the cricket field there, people do come on that carpet and play, they practice golf. So this carpet is used for many other things apart from that. You'll see little kids coming out when the ground is wet, because that part is not usually as wet as the ground, and they put the net on one side and they kick. So the bottom line is, this pitch, which is dedicated to, in this reference as cricket, can be used for different things. Not as productive as, obviously football or baseball, but it certainly can be used for other things.
I gotta get more familiar with cricket, because I don't
Absolutely.
know a thing about it, but,
Right.
well, I don't know what, I can't even picture it.
You gotta wear white
With the
pants
with
with
the
a white shirt.
I can't picture it with the concrete up there,
That's the
Yeah,
basic
think-
uniform, right?
Yeah, basic uniform, so red ball, when you play
Remember
red ball,
second
you
grade
gotta
when you
wear
used to
white.
paddle?
And then,
yeah, right over there.
Yeah, okay. The thing they had, basically an offshoot of a cricket bat.
Okay.
So you basically get one, paddle,
yeah,
hard ball,
and you
boom,
just,
there you go.
one end you throw the ball, and the other end you hit the ball, and the fielders are catching the ball. It's very close to, just imagine that it's a baseball, instead of having a net behind it, you have a floor, because the reason behind that pitch is because you hit the ball on the deck to bring it up to the batsman, so it's not a directly thrown ball, and that's what that is really important for. And it is important for it to be true, because if you're playing on just the grass, and let's say it's damp, it's wet, sometimes it's coming up, sometimes it's going down, sometimes it's just staying there and getting stuck. So for that matter.
And how long is it? How long is it?
22 yards is
22
a pitch, yeah.
Okay.
You worked with Jennifer some on this already, did you?
Yes, quite a bit.
I'll
actually.
talk to her, we
Yeah,
we've
for
got a
sure.
good relationship
Sure.
with her, so.
And if you guys like to see a ball or a bat, I'll be more than happy to grab it.
Why not?
Yeah.
While he's doing that, I have a couple of things from the Boy Scouts. First of all, they have a pancake breakfast coming up at the end of this month, the 27th, I believe. 27th, chief. So the 27th, that morning, that's a Sunday, right?
Right.
Also the 6th.
And of March.
Right.
The other thing is, they have, quite a bit of interest in a girl troop, which, is new to us, but they would like to charter with the township as our boy troop has. The way that the girl troops currently work in Boy Scouts is they have their own leader, they do their own campouts, but they do participate in some things with the boy troop.
But it's gonna be a separate troop?
It is separate. We do not have, Boy Scouts does not have co-ed troops, so this would be a separate troop aligned with Troop 101. So somebody will be coming to a meeting in the near future to ask about chartering a girl troop. I just wanted to make the trustees aware of that.
This reminds me of 8th grade science with Mr. Baldwin, out in the hallway.
So I told you.
Grab your ankles, remember that? Not that I ever had that.
Well, they drilled the holes in it for
Yeah,
wind
the holes were,
resistance.
I think it was more like an orb. And that's the ball that you bounce on.
Right.
Is that a pretty hard ball? But
Come on, Jay.
Fancy.
this thing goes pretty fast when you hit it.
Yes.
Doesn't
The
seem,
fastest one ever bowled was 160 kilometers plus.
Maybe practice it. Well, that should be extremely interesting.
We'll look into it. We'll
Thank
look
you,
into
so,
it.
Absolutely.
yep.
You guys wanna see that? You wanna show it to this bag?
I'd like to the hard ball, yeah.
What if you get hit with that one?
No gloves, huh? Seems like a bad idea.
Don't they wear a helmet though? A helmet, like-
Yeah, they do wear a helmet.
Face
It is
mask?
legal to throw a ball on your face.
That's worth watching.
Rollerball.
Okay, well. Anyone else? Comments? Insults? Anything? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
Gene?
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for coming out on a cold night to partake in township government.